And welcome back to the second segment of our show this morning. We're switching gears to another conversation which has to do with alternative skills and training. And that being said, we have with us on set this morning Orlando Espat. He's the chairperson of the Cayo Centre for Employment Training. Good morning.
Good morning. And
we also have
thank you for being here.
We also have with him Edilto Romero. He's the manager at the Cayo Centre. Good morning.
Good morning.
And on the far left is Aaron Mai. He's an instructor at the Cayo Centre as well. Gentlemen, good morning.
Thank you. Morning.
Thank you very much.
Alternative skills training, such a broad area. You think about all these other programs that are in place and what have you. Where do we begin from in terms of what's being offered by Cayo Centre?
Yeah, well, what we offer at Cayo Centre, like what you mentioned, is an alternative, to the academics. At the end of the day, when you look at what happens after high school with so many young people being unemployed, we offer trade skills training. We offer in the areas of electrical installation, auto mechanics, AC and refrigeration, food preparation, and the list goes on. We focus a lot on tourism as well, because of the fact that 2 out of every 3 individuals are hired in the services sector. And so we do a lot of tourism-based programs as well. But that's what we have to offer in a nutshell. And we find that at the end of the day, about roughly 60 to 70% of our trainees end up being employed once they enter one of our programs and they are successfully certified. Then they actually have a good chance of being employed. So that's what we have to offer the Cayo district and the surrounding communities.
Let's take a step back and talk about the model of Cayo Centre itself. You're a grant-aided institution. Let's talk about the history and your growth over these years.
Well, it is a grant-aided institution. Cayo Centre was founded in the year 1995. It was started by some Irish missionaries. We had possibly at the beginning started with about 30 students with about 3 disciplines. It has evolved over the years, and it has evolved to me tremendously. With the new board that is in place at the moment, what we did was to restructure the whole institution for it to be better operational in terms of finances, in terms to attract more students into the institution. And we have done some marketing. I don't think we have done marketing at a high level as how we would like to, but we are grant-aided. Government, and we're grateful to them that they provide some funds for us. Most of it is to pay the teachers.
The instructors.
But we also had to find a way to make additional funds to run the recurrent expenditures that we have on a daily basis. And what we have done was to use like the carpentry, mechanical, air conditioning, refrigeration, and we have been doing some jobs too. It helps the students on-hand training, and a part of that, it brings in income for the institution, whereby we can supplement some funds that are badly needed. But we have been very successful. At the moment, we have about 200 students pass regular, but we have about close to 400 that passes there on a regular basis every day. We have partnered with St. Ignatius High School, and we have maybe about 100 of them there. And we also have part-time students. So we have about 400 students going in and out of SET on a daily basis.
What's interesting is that there was a time where SET, or the Center for Employment Training, used to be an alternative option instead of high school. But I was asking you before we got started, in fact, almost half your population are high school graduates. When did you start seeing that shift, and why do you think that's happening?
Again, perhaps the shift came about maybe like 7 years ago or so, 2013 or so. I think it has to do again with the unemployment rates. I think that if you look at 50% of the young adults right now between the ages of 15 to 24, they're unemployed. And so you got this story of a taxi guy. He comes to me and he says, man, I sent my 2 daughters to high school, and I went and I got a loan at the Development Finance Corporation at DFC, and both of them are sitting on the couch. However, my neighbor, he sent his son over to Cayo Centre to learn electrical installation, and he's doing little jobs and he's earning an income and he's self-sustainable and he's self-sufficient. And at the end of the day, I think that's what the public realize, that you having your skills, being hands-on, being practical, and you can be your own boss, you can be your own entrepreneur, and you don't really need to rely on the government or anybody providing employment, but you could actually do your own thing, no?
Yeah.
And so that's when we started to see the shift, and like what you rightfully mentioned, about 40% of our intake is actually high school graduates.
Yeah.
It's a real option, or it's a viable option for anybody out there.
So when they can't find a job and they can't move on to perhaps a tertiary level institution, it's a great alternative to get into the workforce and start to make some money. Yeah.
Yes.
Now you are the instructor, Aaron,
Yes.
for the tourism
Tourism
program?
management, yes.
Okay. Tell us a bit about your work there and the students that you interact with.
And so for me, what I do is that I have 9 months to train a trainee that will come to me. And so we take them green. They don't know anything. And we begin to train them in dining room procedures, customer service. We know that throughout the country, we know that customer service is a big issue. So we train them customer service. We train them bartendering, front office, food prep. And so at the end of 9 months, the trainee must be ready for the industry. Like Mr. Romero said, that out of 15 trainees that leaves my classroom, 10 of them is going to find a job. And so at the end of the 9 months program, we send them to what we call the industry attachment, and we use Kaana, San Ignacio Hotel, Chalk Creek, all the major resorts in the Cayo district, and Placencia, San Pedro. We know that tourism industry is one of the largest industries in the country. And so at the end of the 9 months, we send them to a resort for 1 month to do their OJT.
On the job training.
Most of them, because they are good, are hired right away. If they're not hired, they're certified and they begin to look for employment on their own. But my job is to make them marketable in 9 months. And so we get them green, we work them, we train them, because let's face it, not everybody wants high school. Not everybody is made for books.
Yeah.
And so when they come in and we begin to teach them how to set a table, how to greet and seat the guests, how to take the order. This is what they want. And so when they get out there, they know exactly what to do.
And I was going to ask you exactly that, because given the fact that the universities in the country have tourism degrees as an option, how do you differentiate the program at SET?
The program is different because we do more practical. We do skills, attitude, and knowledge. And so attitude in the industry is so important. Without the right attitude, they won't make it. Even if you're in the tertiary level, attitude is so important. And so what we do is that we try to train them hands-on training, while the tertiary level is mostly books. And even I come from the industry. I was a manager for 13 years, but I began as a waiter. And so we encourage them, guys, you will begin at that level, but you will become eventually. And we all begin there.
That's a great story for you to share with them, especially if they're going into an entry-level job. Now, you're even diversifying from what the typical SET programs, which is your mechanics, your catering, you have your tourism, electrical, plumbing?
No, we
you don't do plumbing.
No,
but now you're moving into computer skills. Tell me about that.
Right. Well, we recently became the second testing center in the country for Microsoft. So this coming semester in September, we're going to be offering certification in any Microsoft Office software, also QuickBooks. Now, the reason why, again, is because what we were seeing is we pay a lot of attention to what is in demand. We are a demand-driven institution. And if 2 out of every 3 jobs are in the services sector, and when they talk about the tourism industry or financial institutions or whatever, then these businesses, they need those types of skills. In the tourism industry, you need QuickBooks. The front desk personnel, they need QuickBooks. They need Microsoft, and as a result, that's what we try to focus on now. We try to see what is out there, or what is in demand out there, and as a result, we are the second testing center in the country. The first one is Science for Tech here in Belize City, and we signed on recently, and so we offer that, and it's a global standard.
When you say testing center, to the average person, what does that mean?
It means that you can go into Cayo Centre and you can get a certificate which says that you are proficient in Microsoft Office or in QuickBooks, and that comes from the software developer. It comes actually from Microsoft. Microsoft is saying that you are competent. QuickBooks is saying you are competent. And so we are authorized, we are licensed to offer that type of certification.
What's the level of training? I mean, I think it's always interesting to find out that you can get a certificate from Microsoft in Word, Excel, Access, and you know, the other programs that they have as well. What's the level of information that one has to learn to get this certificate?
The level of information, it varies, because you might be at a certain level if you're working.
Yeah.
You might have some level of experience, you know, drafting up documents in Microsoft Word. So it varies from individual to individual.
Yeah.
But we would say normally it would require about 24 hours for you to be, after we train you, for you to become at that standard that Microsoft and QuickBooks requires. No?
What's been the interest so far?
The interest is there. We have had a lot of calls. We just started advertising this like the past 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But a number of inquiries have already been made.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
so
QuickBooks is a big one.
QuickBooks is a huge hit, yeah, definitely.
One of the things that really keeps me happy about SET is that it is very gratifying for us to see when students that are already certified, that is a high percentage of them that are immediately marketable.
Yeah.
Just an example, I went to take my vehicle to a mechanic this last week, and I was surprised to see that the boss was not there, but they have about 10 mechanics there. And I asked who is in charge, and I saw someone that was trained at SET in the mechanical field, and the other guy said he is in charge. And it made me happy because he is a graduate of the Center for Employment Training.
Yeah.
And the fellow has been so good in what he does that the boss decided, you know something, I have these other people for so long, but you have been very good. You show a lot of initiative, and let's put you in charge. Yeah. And then if you go to the periphery out of San Ignacio, behind Spanish Lookout, to those villages, I have seen some of the people that get out of SET with certification. They have established their own business in air condition and refrigeration, mechanical, etc., hospitality, and so forth. So they're very marketable. And this is what moves the economic activity for themselves and their family. Yeah. And it benefits the whole country, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's less young people out there unemployed.
Right.
And I think that's one of the key motivating factors I'm sure you have. Yeah.
I think Edilto was telling me, just sitting down there, that the Chinese have been in China, they have been very successful in what they do, because the way they think is that, okay, the bricklayer today will be the architect of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way we should think at SET too, that you don't stay where you are, but that you grow more after you go out from there.
How do you look at a society that struggles to find balance in terms of persons who are skilled in alternative training, I want to use that, versus those who have the academic background? Because when you go into the workforce, you're essentially competing at certain levels, right? Where the entry level, you come in with the physical or the manual skills, but to move up to the managerial aspect, you would have to have some form of formal training to go along with it. How do you strike that balance, or how do you look to that?
Right. I think that's a very good question. And at the end of the day, if you take a look again at the numbers, the numbers dictate that 50% of the workforce has a primary level education. The other 50% of the workforce, secondary and above, and so there is that gap, between. But that's what we exactly try to do. We try to strike that there, because if you only have a primary school level of education, a society like Belize society actually is ranked last when it comes to unskilled labor, and so it is important for institutions like Cayo Centre to ensure that gap is met, and we fill that void. And so what we try to do is that these same primary school, because we don't discriminate based on any type of primary school graduates, have the opportunity to actually get trained and get the skills so that they can, and we offer not only the main program, not only the electrical or whatever, but we also give them support courses. They are also trained in information technology. They are also trained in language and communication, mathematics, because if you're gonna have your own business, you need to do a bill of quantities. you need to also know how to strike a good conversation, customer service with your customers. And so language communication, all these we take and we try to make a holistic student at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask about the complementary programs, just to ensure that you have a well-rounded student when they leave your school.
Right.
Yeah.
And going a little bit farther to what he said, you know, we had our open house this year, and one of the things I said when we at the start, we had the Ministry of Education there and ETS and so forth, and we had a lot of people. And one of the things that I have observed, because we're going to go and introduce something now, is that we have to go a little bit farther, because we have our students and they get certified, and a lot of them go and they establish their own businesses. But what we have found out is that somewhere along the road, the businesses fail. And when we analyze it a little bit closer, right, it's not that they're not doing a good job. So because of that, what I was talking to the manager and the board is that it is imperative that we introduce financial literacy classes now at SET, because many businesses fail because they don't know how to handle the finances in their business. So this is very important, and this is one way we'll venture now, so that we prepare them for the marketplace also.
How to access manageable credit for whatever venture they're going to get into.
Yeah, but negotiation with the banks. You know, you set up your own office, you have your QuickBooks in your computer, you know to manage a business financially, and this is what is lacking at the moment.
Yeah, that's great.
But like you were saying, as the manager said, that 40% of the population is high school graduates, and so they're academically ready, and you add a skill on that, makes them more marketable. The others will eventually become. And so we work very close with the industry attachment. And so, like Mr. Landis said, for open house, we had all the industry managers and owners. They came in and they said, I want him, I want her, and they got a job even before leaving. So they're doing well.
And I think the conversation started with the Ministry of Education, that who goes to high school will eventually have to also go to a technical and vocational institution to take a trade there too. Because a doctor once told me a few weeks ago, he finished medicine and it's very hard on him at the moment to even to get a job, so he does part-time. And then he says, you know, Landy, my name is Orlando, they call me Landy, right? But says, you know, I think I went wrong. I should have done mechanical. I should have done air conditioner, refrigeration, because I noticed these people are making their money now. And he says, here I am, and I still can't get established.
That's a reality that one faces in any field, though. It's just the way the way Belize is at the moment in terms of the workforce.
Exactly.
Right? You have persons who, for argument's sake, to paint a picture here, you have persons who graduated yesterday, who are preparing to enter the world of work. But you come in with the academic know-how, you don't have practical skills to actually apply what you know. And so you find yourself competing with someone who comes in, who has the hands-on already.
Right.
And so those are the kinds of considerations that need to be made. And
it's what, at the end of the day, when you look at the education system, right? And the question is, does it really prepare you for the world of work? And I don't believe that, but the academics doesn't really do that. At the end of the day, institutions like Cayo Centre or the other IT vets, we are more hands-on, we are more practical, and we try to give you real life scenarios. And if we're telling you, we're taking you out there to install an AC unit, you're going to be doing that tomorrow for your livelihood. And so we really are preparing you for the world of work. Unlike, you might have that experience. I have that experience. I went to high school, I went to sixth form, I went to university. And when I came out and when I got a job, it was what I learned. It had nothing to do with what I learned.
And I think that something good is happening at SET also, because I was told, and I have been approached by both politicians, by both sides of the fence, right? And they tell me, it says, what's happening in here? Because when we do campaigning and we are house to house, people are telling us we want to send our kids to SET, you know? So something good is happening there. And I'm glad when I hear that, because it gives us the drive to do a little bit better too.
So applications are now being accepted, right? For all the programs, including your new Microsoft programs. Do you have financial assistance available? What's your average cost, so people can know? right?
Right. There are some requirements for you to be registered at Cayo Centre.
Okay.
One of the major requirements is that you have to be at least 15 years of age.
Okay.
Because we are preparing you again for the workforce.
Yeah.
And we need you to be at a certain maturity level.
Okay.
And yeah, we currently are registering students. You would say that you have to be kind of early because spaces are limited. You see, our type of training, we follow regional standards, and so a teacher can only have so many students at the end of the day. And the ratio is supposed to be 15:1, and because we try to give it that special attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have spaces available in all of the different programs. The age requirement is 15, and on normal the year would cost you about $1,500. On average, $1,500.
I just want to mention, because I don't want to forget it, is that what was happening at SET long ago was that there seemed to have been a total lack of communication between Cayo Centre for Employment Training, the board, and the Ministry of Education. Yeah. So when we took over with this new board, I sat down and I analyzed the situation, and we were not in the best of shape. But what we did was to, both myself and Mr. Romero, as chairman, we spent sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning and planning how we're going to restructure the whole institution so that we carry it forward in terms of growth, student growth, financial control, and et cetera, et cetera. What we did was to start establishing very good relations, again, with the Ministry of Education and with TTES. And I also want to say that Dr. Carol Babb has been working very closely with us, and she has had hands-on with the institution together with us, and I'm very happy to have been working along. I still do work along with her. So all of that and the restructuring has helped us to grow a little bit more, and to the extent of where we are today.
But I have to say also that which high school will allow students to make money while they're being trained. And so in my program, we are called for every catering, weddings, and so they will call me and they will say, I need 5 trainees because there's a wedding, there's a catering, and I need you to lead them in service. And so we take them there, and they are being paid while they're being trained. And so we just want to say that if you're planning to register for the tourism classes, to come quick, because these are the hot classes. My class normally has a waiting list. So we tell you to come quick and come early to register.
Yeah. And there's such a booming industry in Cayo.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing the great work that you've been doing, and best of luck in your upcoming school year.
Yeah. And on behalf of ourselves here and the board in Cayo Centre, I would like to thank you both and Channel 5 for hosting us today. It's been great, and this is part of our marketing strategy too. So thank you very much, and we hope you have a fine day today.
Thank you.
And as a token of appreciation, of course.
Yeah, we tied you down good. Right? But of course, we're very cognizant of viewers across the country, so we hope that those of our viewers in Cayo especially and in the surrounding area are now able to know what's being offered at SET and can look at the different opportunities that they can take advantage of. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a break now, and when we come back, it'll be for gift ideas for Dad from the T-shirt factory, so stay tuned.